Good afternoon. I'm excited. My name is Rahzel, and today we're going to take a journey about the human voice, the first instrument. We communicate with it every day, but as a study of the voice, it is our instrument. We take a shower with it, we eat with it, we communicate with it, we love with it. It's our everyday tool. As a child, I was always fascinated with the human voice. Whether it was my mother telling me, it's 12 o'clock in the morning, go to sleep. Or my teacher asking me, did you do your homework? And in my mind, I would play and record all these voices throughout my day, whether it was my friends, whether it was the television, whether it was the radio. And my biggest fascination was the radio, and it was music. And being 9 years old, wanting to have a drum kit, wanting to have a piano, I wasn't that fortunate to have those things. So my imagination became my best friend. And I was able to go into a world, well, when you're young, your parents always say, oh, he has an imaginary friend. My imaginary friend was music. And I always had that relationship. Don't fall asleep yet. It's going to get exciting soon. Now, growing up in the Bronx, New York, during the late 70s, early 80s, I was impacted by this new culture, this new wave that they call hip hop. It was coming out of the era of disco, which disco was a fun time. Everybody dancing, feeling free, doing what they want to do. But there was this other thing called hip hop, the rebel, the noise, the racket. Could you please turn that down? I don't understand what you're saying. It was fascinating to me. All these different voices, all these different sounds coming together, making something. No one knew what it was at the time, but it sounds so good to me. Being a relative of one of the founding fathers of hip hop, which is Raheem from the Furious Five, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, one of the first rap groups to be inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Um, I had a bird's eye view of this new genre that was about to be. No one knew what it was. It just sounded so good. As a child, I would go to, we call it park jams. Today we call them concerts. We call them park jams. It was free. The local DJs would come out and they would play music. Not top 40, not top 10, whatever they felt like playing that would get people on the floor or in the grass and to start dancing and having a good time. Anything to motivate people to move their body, whether it was breakdancing, salsa, merengue, waltz, you name it, they played it. And I think that was the biggest influence and that was the turning point that I was like, I'm going to marry her one day. She was so fascinating. I wanted to learn her language. So once again, I'm going to go back to not having any equipment, no drums, no keyboards, not even a microphone. So pretty much I had to make everything up in my head. This is my world, my fantasy. I'm making it up as I go along. However it sounds to me, it sounds good. However it sounds to me, it sounds good. Keep telling myself, how it sounds, however it sounds good. Not having was never a reason for not doing. Right? You can clap, you can clap, it's okay. We're still in the boring phase. Still boring, okay. We're getting there, we're getting there, we're getting there. Slowly, but we're getting there. Hip hop, rebel music. To me, it wasn't rebel music. It was an encyclopedia to the world. Africa Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, Kool Herc, DJ Hollywood, just to name a few, would play in the parks for free. And it would play every genre of music known. We had no idea what it was. We just know it had a funky beat to it. What they call the breakdown, or what they call the get down. It's just one part in the song where the beat rides with a melodic tone. And the DJs figured out a way to replicate that beat, to extend it from maybe 2 seconds to 2 minutes to 10 minutes. Now I would go home and try to practice what I seen Africa Bambaataa do or Grandmaster Flash would do in the park. Now I'm gonna give you an example of what I used to do. Certain sounds take longer than others to get. No, 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 no. Don't clap yet. We're not ready. We're not ready. Okay. Now, the drum is the first beat that we hear in the womb as a baby inside our mommies, which is the heartbeat. Right? We cannot live without that drum. When the beat stops, we stop. Seriously. I would go home and listen to these different beats. I wasn't as good then that I am now. But it took practice and practice and practice. I would practice the snare I would hear. Kick drum. Snare. Hi-hat. Bass line. Right? I was really rusty then. As time progressed and music has changed and hip hop became bigger and bigger and more of an influence, the more research that I had to do. So I studied artists like Bobby McFerrin. I study artists like George Benson. I study artists like Zap Mama. I study artists like Michael Winslow from Police Academy.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what is it?
The human voice. It's amazing what it can do. We just have to stretch its boundaries. Now, in studying the voice, in studying these artists, in studying the music, not just hip hop. Hip hop is a gumbo of different genres. To me, it's world music because it incorporates everything and everyone. Yes, it started in the urban communities out of necessity, out of rebellion, but it has grown to be embraced around the world because of the different genres that it has embraced. I had to develop the differential between beatboxing and not just spitting into the microphone. For most people, that's what I'm doing. I'm just spitting into the microphone. But I've learned your nasal creates its own sound. When you're breathing, this is sound. This is your voice. This is your instrument. This can be your bass line. This can be your shakers. This can be your hi-hat. Your mouth, teeth, tongue, gums. Can be your snare. Lips. Could be your kick. Upper lip can be your snare. Also, bass line could be your throat. Also, your chest. You can't hear that one, that's a little deeper. But in order for you to breathe, they call it circular breathing. In order for you to breathe or continue a beat for more than 5 minutes without holding your breath, you must rotate the sounds. I will demonstrate that once again. I'll slow it down. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale.